Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the World Championship Racing Grand Prix here in Russia. I'm Ben Ragnar McConnell, and joining me on the caster desk is no one. It's just me today. Caster couldn't make it, so I'm going to be riding solo. Looking at the grid, though, it's going to be pretty stacked, to say the least. So, I mean, we're looking at the likes of Beaker, who can be good when he has a good day. Leopard, who we know is rapid. You got the likes of Frankie Pie, Ray. Ray's actually probably one of the greatest qualifiers to ever existed in this game, but again, his race pace is the area where he seems to lack it. Hopefully he can pull it together. But then you got the likes of this man here and Nickturn. I've seen this guy pull off some incredible things, and today will be no exception. This is Russia. This is a track he's actually really quite good at. The only worry I have for him is he is someone who's very often gets a lot of penalties, and if he does get a lot of penalties, that could cost him the whole win today, which he really does not want to have happen. So it's a lot of focus for him to do, a lot of work for him to really get on the track. But if he can achieve it, this is going to be a really good result for Nickturn. If I was to chuck you a top 3 prediction for qualifying, oh, it's going to be tight. I think a Nickturn P1, Leopard P2, and I think Ray P3. Oh, actually no, this is Ray's best track. Ray is exceptional on this track. So, is he as good as at Nickturn and Leopard? Alright, at Nickturn, Leopard, Ray. I'm going to stick with that. I know that Ray is ridiculous on this track, and he has set some insane times. At one point, he actually set the world record time on this track, but that was in time trial, and that wasn't in a qualifying setting. I don't know. I think Ray will do well in the quali. Come the race, if he does do the softs, those tyres are just going to fall apart so quickly. But here we go then, with a Nickturn, who's going to take us on a nice hot lap run of the Russian circuit in Sochi. Here we go then. That is the final corner, and this is the starting straight. There's the grid, as you can see, and the DRS starts early. It starts about there. Turn 1 is that little right-hander there. Somebody coming out of the pits. Stay on the left-hand side. Watch out for the brake marker boards. Brake just before the 100-meter board and get yourself down to gear 3. Make sure you can turn 2 and 3 are pretty simple as long as you get them right. Turn 4 is a very long left-hander. You do not want to make a mistake here. And then you got turn 5. Again, another area for overtaking. A little dive down the inside would be the main attempt. Turn 6 then is this awkward right-hander where you want to carry pace, but you don't want to carry too much because you will run wide. Into turn 7, and now very quickly turn 8. Again, another awkward corner, and you come to turn 9, which is the final of the awkward corners, which is a left-hander. I guess turn 10 as well there. Turn 11, which will lead you on to the second DRS straight of this grid. And there it is, wing open, long, isn't straight, right the way down into a very difficult chicane. It's a very hard braking zone. You got to make sure that you don't have any steering on when you go for the brakes, otherwise you will lock up and you will let it put in those barriers in a similar way that Alexander Albon did this year in the official F1. Another left-right, quick chicane. It's a long spread out one, but it's still a very crucial one. If you run wide, that wall on the left will creep out and get you. So now the final 2 corners, double right-hander. There's 1. And there is 2, and if you've done this just right at Nickturn, you will be setting the first and fastest lap on this track. A 130.964 is a good start. His teammate right behind him, copy 131.0. So they are very closely matched in terms of their pace. So now whether or not the man himself, Ray, who's in the pits, might be able to knock that down a peg or 2 if he gets the opportunity. I'll be surprised if we see too many drivers go for the softs, because honestly, the softs on this track are just not the right tyre. They will really crumble when it comes into the race. So there is a massive focus for you to worry about the tyre strategy, really focus on how you're going to play the long game. If you can, it could work out. Tinko, someone else who I've actually been racing, not just on this game, but on iRacing, and he is actually really quite a fast driver in both games. 132.515 is his current fastest. Again, it's on the softs, and he still has plenty of time to improve that. But he's going to need to think about the end game. 13 minutes and 20 seconds remaining of the session. Means there's still room for track evolution to play a factor and tyre strategies to be chucked on the car. First of the drivers out on the mediums is this man here, Just Ice. I don't know too much about this driver, so I'm very much expecting to see some big things from him. Or at least just some good solid... I mean, he clearly has his head screwed on because he's gone for the mediums, which is the right tyre to be on. In my opinion, anyway. Into the pits, though. Clearly not happy with that out lap. Or hot lap. And in he goes. Where's Stefanator? He's currently on a flyer, coming into that very hard braking zone. Right-hander and into the left. Again, this is a very awkward one, especially if you're side-by-side. You really don't want to be side-by-side if you're going through that area because it's just so difficult. And you need to think about a couple of corners ahead. It's doing alright though. Stefanator's doing the relevant stuff to be able to get the times in. How's he going to fare though on these softs? Is it going to be up there with the big boys? It is. It's a 1:31.376. He's actually only 3/10 off of Copy, who's really only just under a 10th behind his teammate at Nick Turn. So good stuff. Outlaps being thrown about all around. Blackbird there on in the Haas car. He's on an outlap. In fact, everyone now is on outlaps except for potentially Frankie Pie, who is on an in-lap. He's currently into the pits. So he's not going to be improving, or at least not yet. Blackbird, coming through the final few, has decided now's the time to get prepped for the hot lap. Mode 5 on that car, and let's see if he can get turn 2 and 3 right. They're probably the major ones to decide whether or not you're going to have a good lap or not. If you do it a little bit wrong, it can go horribly wrong. Yeah, then wing wide open then. And this game is actually beautiful. If you take all the heads-up display off and just watch the drivers flying around the track, it looks so good. And turn 2 and 3 were pretty clean for him as well. Don't think he invalidated. No, he's still committed, that's for sure. Still mode 5, still carrying it out, and I think he did everything okay. Clips that corner beautifully, cut it just the right amount, and actually gets a really solid exit. So Blackbird in for a good time then. Oh, a little bit out of shape there though, not quite as comfy as he wants him to be. Well, is that invalidated? No, still committed. This corner can be one of the most fun corners on the track if done correctly, but if it's done even slightly wrong, it will not be fun at all. Very easily get penalties, very easily just get warnings if you're lucky. Come on then, Blackbird, let's see what you can do on these mediums. So the fastest time on anything other than the softs was done by Frankie Pie, and he did it on the hard. So 1:33.509, which just shows, you know, if he can do that on the hards, just think about what he can achieve when he gets to the softs. The hards are so much slower in comparison to the softs. And Blackbird's about to give us an idea as to just where the mediums sit in this list. I think we're looking at about a low 1:32, maybe a high 1:31 if his time is pretty swift. There's a 30, there's a 31, there's 32, and ooh, it's not that high. And he did invalidate. Ray, though, he sets the fastest. No surprise for someone who has held at least a world record here once upon a time. Don't think he still holds it. Pretty sure he got beat, but Ray up there, 1:30.646 shows he has got real skill here. Just ice on the softs as well. Ooh, looking a little bit, I don't know, the gears were interestingly shifted down there. Came very quickly down the gears, and that didn't suggest that everything went well for him. Under the Rolex board. Looking nice and tidy. 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go then. Time is very quickly disappearing. So these drivers are going to have to seriously think about how they're going to attack this. They haven't got a lot of time to play around with. And Nick Turn in the exact same boat. Copy did not get a tow from his teammate. And he's not giving a tow either. So a Nick Turn further up the field than his teammate. Has opportunity to really chuck it into there. I want to see where Tinko is. He has really been impressing me just lately. I want to see if he can carry that across. From iRacing into F1. It's a very different beast. There's Brownie on the outside, getting out of the way. Camille is someone else who is fast. Like, he really does have that raw talent. He just needs to refine it just a touch. If he can get that raw talent into check and just sort of make it so that it's pure talent, you know, that is going to be the Camille that can easily win races. Is he going to get anywhere near that top step? Is he going to get pole position today? There's Brownie in the way. Very swiftly getting out of the way though. Not that quick there was Camille. The yellow flag sector 2-3. Doesn't surprise me if that's people just getting out of the way. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Copy has retired though. That's not good. Yellow flag sector 3 and Max has a collision with him that causes a 5-place grid penalty. Max, there's Copy, and then it looks like someone else. That was Max then. Oh dear, Max is in trouble already. 5-place grid penalty applied to the car. Copy very much out of the way. The brat diving out of the way as well, making sure he doesn't get himself involved in any sort of unnecessary situations. Here comes Camille. Final corner. This is looking fast. This is looking like it could be. Oh, not quite, but it was a very good time. Beat out Nick Turn. He puts himself P2. 130.811. So good stuff from Camille. Anyone else on hot laps? We've got Leopard. Someone else I've picked to be in the top 3. Very much has that skill. Oh, very much loses the back end there, actually. And he held it quite nicely, but you can't really afford to be doing that if you want to look after your tyres and you want to look after your time. He's on mode 0, so he's not on the hot lap anymore. Stefanator just started a hot lap with the wing wide open, charging through turn 1 up towards turn 2. This braking zone is so crucial and it's so difficult to get it perfectly right. And he makes it look pretty easy. Good job there from Stefanator. There he is. And there he goes. Still going strong through turn 5. I think everything has gone quite smoothly for him, to be truthful. I don't think he's actually had any real problems at all here to be able to chuck in this good time. Max out on the mediums, is on a hot lap. Does he have wing damage from any collision with Copy? I don't think so. I think Copy must have hit his rear or side at least. But yeah, Copy did get DNF'd. He has set to 131.042. He's currently P4 at best, and that's as far as he's going to stay unless other people improve, which I'm pretty sure they will. Who's the fastest on the mediums? Currently, it's only Frankie Pie. He's the only person who's done a time on the mediums and he did a 32.734. Max currently out there on the mediums. Oh, he's at the wall. That's a wing gun. And into the pits he'll go then. Disaster for Max. He's really not had a good qualifying session. Had contact with Copy and then in the end ended up just pinging that wall a little bit more. I did mention it in the hot lap. It can very easily take your wing away from you. And it did bite back very quickly. Beaker then, he's currently going through on a hot lap as well. 5 minutes 25 to go before the end of the qualifying session. And that's when things are really going to start to heat up. We are nearing that point, which is the calm before the storm. You've got the drivers that are currently, well, majority of them are currently sat in the pits, thinking about that sort of tyre strategy, how they're going to attack this. Do they think they can beat their time on the mediums? If they can, go for it. If not, then you have to go again on fresh softs, and you have to really think about your strategy going into the race. I think anybody who starts on softs now is either going to go one stop to hards, which is going to be the wrong choice because the hards are just so much slower on this track, or they're going to go for a 2-stop strategy, maybe go softs, mediums, mediums, or softs, mediums. I think softs, mediums, mediums makes more sense because softs runs are just going to fall apart after around about lap 6, lap 7, especially lap 6 if you've done a hot lap on them already in the qualifying session. They just take so much more grip out of your tyres. But who knows? These guys have obviously got a lot more knowledge and a lot more skill when it comes to driving these cars. So I can't count them out just yet from doing the one-stop strategy from softs to mediums. I just think it's just a bit too hard. Here comes Beaker then, P7, 131.664. 1 full hundredth of a second behind Tinko. And Ray improves again. 3/10 improvement on his previous time. He is really flying. Endicton, do you have an answer to this problem that is Ray.exe? Copy didn't. That wasn't necessarily his fault. I want to see Leopard. I want to see what times he can chuck in when he isn't having to worry about the other cars on the track. When he is able to just put it in a hot lap, I want to see how quick he can be. I know he has insane amounts of skill, especially insane amounts of pace. It's just, sure, is he going to be able to actually deliver that in this qualifying session? If you get invalidated on your hot lap, that's it. You don't get another chance. That's it, just done and dusted. There goes it, Nick then. So he did improve by 3/10, but again, he's still 3/10 off of Ray. Ray's a little bit further ahead. That's not really helping Nick at all, and he is in a world of trouble. The Brat then, coming down the second DRS straight. Nice. and smooth. Schwalbe in the same place as where the Brat was. Where's Frankie Pie? He's actually tried every tyre on the track today. He's done the hards, wasn't a big fan of it, went to the mediums, put a time on it, but it still wasn't enough. And now he's out on the softs. So can Frankie Pie put himself into the top 10? He's currently set at a 132.214, but you know Brownie, he's the kind of guy who will absolutely improve, and by a good margin as well. So I don't think it's safe to say that Frankie Pie needs those for half a second. He's going to need to get more about 8/10ths if he wants to stay safe in the top 10, especially considering Just Ice is on a 131.860. The one thing going for Frankie Pie is, like I say, he did that time earlier on the medium compound, so he has now got the better tyres on. He's got so much more grip and has the full-on ability to just nail it. Still going strong, Frankie Pie. I need to see this time though, mate. I really want to see you get yourself into the top 10. It's not too difficult, bearing in mind how quick you were on the mediums. The softs are considerably faster, the majority, but he has decided that nope, I'm not going out. I don't think Frankie Pie is actually going to be able to set a time then. If he's decided to pit, that's it. He's done and dusted. There is nowhere near enough time for him to go out again and get another hot lap in, so he has really put the nail in that coffin, just like Just Ice did. That was a mistake. Very much turned into a Beyblade on that area of the track. Clipped the wall on the outside, on the inside, flew over to the outside, and that put him in the position he's in now with absolutely no front wing. He's actually got an Alpha going up behind him. I think that might have been Tinko. Or the Brat. There's the Brat. Tinko is actually scrapping with Leopard. Leopard's on an outlap, so is Tinko. He's just decided, I probably shouldn't fly you here. We need to worry about each other later on. Here goes Camille then. He's on a hot lap. Brownie. He's 2/10ths up. He's going to put him around about ahead of Max, so P11. Currently not enough. We'll have to really get some pace in, but that was only Sector 1. Does still have Sector 2 and 3 to go. Brake hard. Get yourself through the corners. There you go. Nice and easy. Oh no, Frankie Pie. Hopefully that's more of a technical issue and he's actually able to get back in again, but he's going to need to be quick. 11 seconds remaining of the session. There'll be drivers that cross the line. Like Ray's really calculated that just right. I saw his outlap go away, which tells us he just started. Brownie crosses the line. Goes 9/10ths faster, but it was invalidated. So whilst he would have been sort of P5, P6 area, just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough. So Brownie can go again. He is going again. Don't know if he's made a mistake there though. Here comes Leopard. So Nick Turn crossed the line. He's done a 130.642. He will not be able to take pole position today. Ray looking dead set on making that work. Leopard, are you going to be able to get into that top 3 and join the rest of the guys that pretty much match your pace? You're going to need to if you want to worry about that win later. Yeah, penalties are going to be huge here. That also means you've got to avoid them too. Not the fastest way through there, but not the worst neither. Brake hard. Here we go then. Final corner. Is this going to be new pole? This is looking really quick. It is not. It would have been. It definitely would have been. But he invalidated. I think he invalidated on the final corner. He was looking so quick. Max currently out there. He's in the pits. He's just completely missed the pits. There he goes. Back in again. Beaker. He's on an outlap. On a hot lap, sorry. One more to go. Oh, is he invalidated? Was that a crucial invalidation? It wasn't, but he did improve. So he goes P7. So beautiful stuff from him. And that's it. Brownie can't improve. So Ray is on pole position today, and Nick Turn could not beat him. 3/10ths was the difference. But honestly, when it comes to the race pace, I think Nick Turn has this one in the bag unless he gets a lot of penalties. Ray's the kind of driver who seems to bottle it a fair bit when it comes into the race. I would love to see Ray properly smash it and actually get those 25 points in his pocket. And this is the track he would do it on if he has the opportunity. It's just is when it comes to a little bit further in on the stint of those tyres, Ray is going to be very, very affected from his pace. Just waiting for Brownie now to get into the pits, and then we'll be moving on to the qualifying rundown. There we go then. Ray is on pole position with it Nick Turn 2.5 tenths behind him in P2. Camille in P3. He's only 4 tenths off with Schwalbe there in P4. Really good pace from him to be able to achieve that. It beats Copy, who was P2 earlier when Nick Turns at his time, but due to the contact he had with Max, he did end up DNFing, so 131.042 was the best he could do, and he only lost 1 place at the time of when he qualified, so good stuff from Copy. Tinko P6, Beaker P7, Stefanita P8, the Brat P9 with Just Ice in the top 10. Then you got Blackbird, best of the rest, and the only other person to mention is Max, who got 5 place grid penalty because of the contact he had with Copy, where Copy did end up DNFing from the session. So that should, if my maths are correct, that will put him dead last. So Max will have to do the last 2 challenge. It's going to be a very difficult challenge to complete regardless, especially around this track. It's really, really tough in terms of lines and in terms of battling. You can get good exits, you can get good overtaking opportunities, but it's just so hard to be able to maintain pace and pull away from the drivers around if you need to. Max has really got his work cut out for him today. I would like to see Max keep a consistent drive, take it to the end, and actually get himself into the top 10 properly, get those points that he does deserve, because ultimately he does actually deserve the points. He just needs to be consistent. The amount of times where you'll see him battling with other drivers and he's just a little bit too aggressive, bit too elbowy, it ends up causing him to DNF, and sometimes even worse, it actually causes the driver he's battling with to DNF as well. So Max, you got a lot to do. He's chosen the mediums to do it with, along with Leopard and along with Brownie, the only other 2 drivers who actually decided to go on the mediums. Still, probably the right decision in my opinion. I think the mediums are the key tyre to go on. Oh, bit of a mistake there. Excuse me, from Ray. Did not take turn 2 correctly at all. But luckily, this is the formation lap. He's going to be leading us round. I'm going to keep an eye off the start. I want to see how good Beaker can be, because Beaker does have some incredible starts sometimes. If he can get a good start here in Russia, because this is key. That run towards turn 2 is absolutely huge. And if he can get the toe off of a couple of drivers, if he can get the nice inside line, and if he can avoid damage, there's a possibility Beaker might end up being in P5 by the time we get to turn 2. If there's a bit more argy-bargy, elbows being shoved around, handbags thrown at each other, I think we might see Beaker actually get himself into some free space and actually, go ahead, finish the race, get some solid points. Might be wishful thinking, who knows? But I'll tell you someone who's definitely going to know. Beaker, he's really going to be committed. Cannot allow himself to get tilted. If he tilts, you can say goodbye to that race for him. A few corners to go then, before we are back on the grid. If you can get there pretty quickly, we might be able to get the race underway very shortly. To the line then. Who is that? Some people that have been Tinko and Copy. Copy has really had a bad day today. His quality was pretty decent in terms of lap he did, but the people around him, they just seem to want him out of this session somehow. And they seem to be doing a lot to do it to get that to actually happen. Max, a bit further back. He is the final driver to wait for to cross the line. To get into his grid box so we can get underway with the Russian Grand Prix then. Going aboard with it, Nick Turn, because he has the inside line for this run up towards turn 2. And if he can hold Ray to the outside, then he absolutely will. Lights on. And lights off, and need to make sure we get this start just right. And Nick Turn has got a beautiful run. Ray's going to be left high and dry, and that's allowed Ray to immediately get into race lead. There's already contact, lots going on down the field. That's Blackbird. He's been very much hit about. Has Just Ice got involved in that situation? Beaker's not. He's already up into P5. In fact, he's actually scrapping with Schwalbe. He's ready for P3. Beaker's got the inside line. Schwalbe's going to be sat on the outside right the way through in towards turn 5. If he can hold it together, he is in a P3. Tinko's trying to get down the inside. Nice little three-way battle going on as well. Further downfield, that is for around P5, P6 territory. Brat is involved in that. Tinko, his teammate, right there alongside. More wing damage there. I think that was a Toro Rosso I just saw wing from, and that might be Leopard. It is. Right end plate has gone for Leopard. He is in very much trouble. Frankie Pie ahead with Tinko, trying to scrap away through a little bit here. There's a good possibility that Frankie Pie might actually just send it down the inside. There it is. He's going for it. No DRS to defend with here. He knows that Tinko does have wing damage. That left end plate has very much left the Alfa Romeo, but look at the straight line pace from Tinko. He has so much going on for him. It's going to be tight. It's going to be side by side all the way through into the, I'm going to call it corkscrew. That's not his name, but I'm going to call it that, because it very much does have the fast chicane. Schwalbe there up against Beaker still, who's had a really solid start. Beaker has flown from the lights going out. He just bolted up towards turn 2, and he's immediately got himself up a couple of places. In fact, talking of places, he's gained 4 overall. He is not the biggest winner though. The biggest winner is actually Frankie Pie, who's currently sat P7, has gained 6 places, and then for second place in the biggest winners, you have 2 people tied. Leopard and Max both gained 5 places each. 9th and 10th is where they sit currently. Max obviously did the last 2 challenge, and he's currently sat P10. Leopard's gained another one though, so he's now tied with Frankie Pie for the biggest winner. Honestly, I am so impressed by how well Beaker managed to get away off the start and really just charge up the field. He did exactly as I predicted. I expected there to be a good little scrap going on between them. There's Leopard sent off to the outside. He's got wing damage, as we talked about earlier, and that may have been the reason why he ended up running out like that. I doubt it, considering the line he took. People have decided to pit though. He's got more wing damage actually. Left side has gone as well, so he's got no end plates on that car whatsoever. Where's Max? Has he got everything together? Nope, he's got right end plate damage as well. He is someone, like I said, who does tend to get involved in situations that he shouldn't necessarily be in, and he just can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. Brat on Frankie Pie will stay how it is for now. Lap 2 of 27. Let me know in the chat what your predictions are for the top 1, 2, 3. I was going to put, well, still am putting it Nick Turn on top step. I think he just has that outright pace to be able to do it. If Leopard started off in the top 3, or if he actually get a time on the board that was not a slow one, I think he would have been very much in the lead or battling for it. It's interesting now that he started on the mediums, and he has, unfortunately, damaged his car. The Brat came into the pits and has retired. So he's the first person to retire. He will not be improving. Blackbird out there. Brownie, Just Ice fighting with Stefanator. They are pretty close together. Times are now correct on the left-hand side, so what you see is what you see. And Leopard has that in the pit lane as well. I think it is. Yeah, it will be. So that's 2 drivers. By the time we even get lap 3 out of the way, oh, that's a big mistake from Stefanator. That's allowed Just Ice to slide on through. Just lost the car a little bit. Just Ice gets a penalty though. Just cuts that inside a little bit too much. That caused him to get a 3-second time penalty. Now, Beaker, 6/10 off Ray. Ray about half a second, hovering around at least off the back of it. Nick Turn. Opportunity here for Ray to pull away, but Beaker having DRS does make it really difficult for Ray. He just doesn't quite have what is required. We have official Shadi, who says that Nick Turn, Beaker and Schwalbe are the top 3 predictions. So Ray to not finish in the top 3. I can only assume it's going to mean that he's going to DNF, which Ray does have that tendency. It's something that he is well known for, is bottling races. Is he going to bottle this one? I'm not sure. Max gets a time penalty, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. That's a mixture of corner cutting and extending of track limits. Not good so early on in the session. Means he's had a warning pretty much every lap for the last 3. The battle for P1 has now become a 4-way battle, and Beaker cannot afford to be taking the corner like that. If he does, he is absolutely going to find himself with a penalty. and he cannot really, he really could do without a penalty, because he could actually do with holding on to podium. That'd be a really good position for him to finish. Might be a confidence boost again for him to bring himself back to his glory days where he knows he can be quick. Max getting another time penalty. That is a very quick time penalty to get. And yet Max is gone. Where is that? Is that coming after the first turn? I don't see him. Where is he? There's a yellow flag. There's some car parts on the left. Yep, that was him there. So somehow he ended up off into the wall on the left side and DNF from the session. So sad face indeed. So Baker's actually looking good. Baker's looking like he could get a top step on the podium. Brownie in P11, fighting with Stefanator and Just Ice, has got incredible pace. Both of them are on the hards ahead of Brownie. Here comes Brownie then. DRS wing wide open. They both have it, but he's got the outside. Here he comes deep into the corner. It's going to be very late. Oh, very narrowly misses the Williams. That was so marginal, but he has done it. He has got the position on Stefanator, and so has Blackbird, who's now up to P11. Not a points position, but still a position you don't want to ignore. It does suggest he is better than mid-pack racers. Blackbird with a time penalty as well. That is not good. Here goes Brownie. DRS swing wide open. There's not going to be anything that Just Ice can do here. It's going to be a done dealio. Off he pops. So Brownie now into points and has doubled them already. He's on to P9, which gives him 2 points. That's before fastest lap is obviously provided. And I don't think Brownie will be getting that. It sounds to me like Ray at some point will decide to pit. We'll probably go softs again. And I think that's when he'll say his fastest lap. But I think that will be his downfall. Blackbird on the back of Just Ice. He's trying to do a Brownie effectively, just trying to get past him as quick as he can. And it isn't working for him just yet. Brownie is slowly but surely pulling away. Wing open. DRS and ERS being fully utilised here then on the back of Just Ice. Position changes ahead. That's Copy and Frankie Pie. Frankie Pie is ahead of Copy now. P5 for him. He's really done well to gain. So look at that. 8 places gained for Frankie Pie. He cannot complain at all. He has properly smashed it today. Really good job from him, but the race is not yet over. It's still tons of time for him to try and pull this back. Be interested to see if he can do it. How does he do it? Because it's not going to be simple. Blackbird on Just Ice will surely get him now on this home straight. There he is. And he's done it down the inside. Blackbird up in a P10 now into a points position. Beaker, Ray, and a Nickturn, all very close to each other. Schwalbe's just sort of hanging in there. He is matching Beaker's pace now, but I don't know, anything can change, especially when he's so high in the thousands that, or even in the tens. It does mean that there's a very possible. Oh, hang on, never mind. Brownie, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings for him. Corner cutting as well. Not good. Beaker suddenly losing ground. Just hanging in on that 1 second margin. Schwalbe gets a penalty, 3 seconds in fact. So that will cause him a lot of problems. Ray really stepped his game up. Look at this. He's working his way towards that Nickturn. And Nickturn has helped Ray a little bit. Get the toe that he needs to pull away from Beaker. But Beaker just about hangs him in. Makes sure that he has broke that gap down to less than a second. Whether or not Camille is doing this to gain anything, I don't know, but it is an interesting strategy. So everything's pretty relaxed. There's not a great deal going on track at the minute. There are battles, but no battles where anybody's trying to attack. Although Copy might go for it here on Frankie Pie. This is going to be a tough one. Nope, just sits back, lets it go. Smart heads-up driver there from Copy. He is someone you can rely on to be very clever in terms of his driving aggression style. But he needs to get aggressive in the final two corners. He has to get close to the back of the racing point to allow him to DRS and slipstream all the way down the main home straight in towards turn 2. There it is. Has he done enough? It's 6/10 currently. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Beautiful around the outside. Might be a bit too deep there. There's Frankie Pie holding him in, and he holds him out, but Copy still stays out there. Frankie Pie has lost that position again to the one and only Copy. Oh, I saw Toro Rosso there just suddenly disappear in the background. That was not nice. Let's see, Camille doesn't have wing damage. She just clearly lost it. No, that's the one we were not looking forward to seeing. Beaker getting a 3-second time penalty. Yes, he is matched with Schwalbe, and he has got enough of a gap to Copy to make it so it's not really a problem. But if he's going to get one, there's a strong possibility he might get two. Here comes Frankie Pie with DRS wing available and on the home straight. No, the middle straight, sorry. Ray's done a really good job of just holding a half-a-second gap between him and Nick Turn, and Nick Turn is just not really pushing, I don't think. Ray in a slightly better position than Nick Turn ERS-wise. Fuel-wise, Nick Turn has a lot less, but also has plenty of time to rejuvenate that, I feel like, to get more, or manage more, should I say. Frankie Pie. Still on Copy. Oh, Leopard. Oh, no man, he's left. I thought he actually had DNF, but he's already DNF'd early. He was one of the first to do it. In fact, he was the first to do it. We did see a penalty as well. I believe that was for Schwalbe. Not ideal. And that will help Beaker out quite a lot. Ray getting a 3-second time penalty will mean that the top 4, except for Nickton, all have 3 seconds of time penalties. And if they do, that's great. It means that they actually have to physically pass each other in order to get the position. But from a Zebra perspective, who knows? There then. And there. We apparently have gained a Chino. We've got Tinko. Tinko is pretty close to the back of Brownie, but we need to go back to the front runners as pit lanes are starting to liven up a little bit. Everything's starting to get a little bit extra. Tinko going for the attack on Brownie. He's gone for mode 4. He's going to have to do the outside line because Brownie made it, so he had no other choice. And there it is. Tinko has made it through. Brownie's might get the cutback. Nope, not quite. So he'll stay where he is. Frank Pie and Copy still going at it. And still out there on the softs. This could be the biggest mistake of their race today. Softs just do not work well enough for them in order to take them far enough. The mediums here for these drivers that were on soft have decided, yep, it's go time to go to the end on these tyres. Let's do it. Blackbird with Brownie as well. Obviously Brownie just got passed by Tinko. Blackbird has an opportunity, but I need to see this. Here comes Blackbird to copy. Not really going for the aggressive overtake, not really taking the ERS route. Didn't turn up to full at all. I think he's just trying to preserve it to make sure that his outlap is as clean as can be. If he can get a nice clean outlap, then he'll actually get some. Right, copy is in, but Frankie Pie believes he can do one lap at least more on these tyres before he has to change them off. Come on, Blackbird, I thought you had Mode 4 in here. He's not even using it. Mode 0 is what he decided. He's still gaining, it's just not quite enough. Alright, still there, still no changes. A little bit of a pit stop there, obviously for Copy. He's now gone onto the mediums, but he has got out behind Camille. Let's have a look in terms of total places gained. He's lost 2. Bearing in mind, though, in terms of stops, there's only one driver ahead of him that has actually not yet stopped, and that is the guy he was battling with, which is Frankie Pie. So it's not over, is what I'm trying to get to. It's not over at all. Seems a little harsh. Copy getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He is usually one of the most consistent drivers, but most too many times exploiting the track a little bit, and that'll be a penalty slapped on your wrists. Blackbird gets one that. 3-second time penalty as well. Frankie Pie has finally come into the pit. So 10 laps later from the start of this Grand Prix, he decides, or 11 laps, sorry, he decides now is time to get off for those softs and onto, I can only imagine, mediums. He could take the mediums to the end of the race, so can a few of these drivers. The ones I want to watch out for are like the likes of Brownie and Blackbird, who've gone for these 9-lap-old mediums. When they go to softs, they should be feeling pretty cozy. They will go a little bit further than the ones of the guys that actually started on them, qualified on them, because they won't have that extra wear. There's Tinko, there he is, working on Copy. So they're still about the same, even though Copy had a lap, pit a lap earlier than Frankie Pie did. They're pretty much still there and still fighting. It's just not yet. Still only 3 DNFers, but there's another penalty. Frankie Pie is doing really quite well. Just sort of firing himself up on all cylinders, working his way through towards the top 5. Ideally, he'd like a top 5. That'd be a really good sort of points position situation to be in. And Nick Turn, there's a 3-second time penalty that we were talking about. If he gets that, he suddenly loses the advantage he's got, which is he would have been 4 and a bit seconds, almost 5 full seconds ahead of Ray. And as a result of that, he is now in equal territory. So not really lost anything, just not really gained anything either. Here comes Frankie Pie then. He's already sizing up Copy. DRS wing wide open, takes the inside line. That is it. Nice and smooth. Copy will just have to sit behind him for now. Didn't even use ERS. He just said, alright, go on, go for it then. I'm just going to stay here. Just going to charge my ERS and I'll worry about it later. We do have 14 laps left. 15 if you include the one that they're on right now. And yeah, Copy could just bide his time a little bit. Just focus on those laps in the future, and then eventually smash it. Blackbird, Brownie on the back of each other. He's going for a send. That's a big send. We lost Schwalbe. What's happened to him? Sector 2, yellow flag as he crashed out in the same place. We saw Max. I don't think, well, definitely not Max, sorry. Leopard had an issue here on the track, but he didn't DNF there. Where is Schwalbe? Tinko is further up ahead. It's coming up now then. Here's a yellow flag. Don't see the car anywhere. Oh, it's there on the right side. That's where he crashed. So major off then for him to crash out there. He must have had some sort of problem. Maybe even contact, but I don't know where he got contact from. There was no one around him. That's very, very odd indeed. Right, gotta go back really quick. Who was that? Blackbird and Brownie, that was who it was. But again, no position changes just yet. Brownie is holding up P8. He's right on the limit of DRS, so has to somehow just break a 10th would be comfortable. Nice and smooth, and now on the offensive one more time. Still a bit too far back. Not stopping him from using mode 4 and his DRS, working his way towards Brownie. He has actually gained quite a fair bit of time there. Clipped that curve. I think he may have got a warning for that. That was quite tight. Could have probably taken it a little bit wider. That would have made it obviously less risky for him to get a penalty or not. Didn't get a penalty, may have got a warning. This is another corner where you can do the exact same thing, and I think ultimately Brownie's just doing what is required right now. He doesn't have to worry about everyone else. You know, him and his driver behind him are on the exact same age of tyre. When he pits, he's going to lose a lot of time, but doesn't mean Brownie's race is over. He may still gain quite a lot between now and the time where he has to pit. So just focus on that a little bit. Copy. P6. Still on the back of Frankie Pie. Still looking alright. Where's Black? I'm surprised Blackbird hasn't made a move on Brownie already. He's not that far behind Tinko. It is a 1.2 second gap, but I think Brownie could fix that. Oh, he has fixed it, but neither does Blackbird. He's into the wall. That was a big off there. Just clipped the inside a little bit too much, and that was it. Lights out, curtains closed, and off into the wall he went. Blackbird is out, and now we only have 10 drivers remaining. Means that everyone will get points if they make it to the end of the race. The only person who doesn't get points is Stephanie, who will get an individual point. Copy. Pushing up on Frankie Pie. Copy is 6 turns off of Frankie Pie. I think ultimately, yeah, please do some work and get yourself further upfield. Copy. That's what I want to see. Oh, I thought he was going to send it then. That would have been a very late send if he went for it. Decided against it. I think that's very smart. Definitely don't want to be sending any moves out of nowhere. Not when you be a mile and a half behind, that's for sure. Beacon now outside of the 1 second margin on Ray. Ray's already outside of that, but he has sort of held a decent gap between him and Nickten. It's only 1.7, which could easily change come the end of the race if Nickten gets another penalty. That will bring Ray into race lead and potentially race win. Beacon might be able to capitalize on that as well should things go well for him, but you know, this is not going to be an easy thing for him to pull off. Beaker's back within that DRS, which is good. Brownie P8 still. I think he might actually be in trouble now. He's going to pit, but he's already 17 seconds behind Copy. Beaker getting another penalty. No, that's disaster. We don't want that, Beaker. We want things to be a lot better than that, a lot smoother than that. Let's see consistency. Let's see no warnings. Let's see the cleanest race that Beaker's ever driven in his life, and potentially even get himself on that top step of the podium. And he's got the gap covered. Ultimately, he's not losing anything. He's just not getting anything. Although he's... Never mind, I scratched that. He is absolutely getting it. And then look at the gap he's just closed up on Ray. He's actually in shot of going for it. If he can apply some pressure to Ray, Ray gets a penalty, physically passes him on the track, and Beaker might be in with a shot of taking P2 away from him. This would be, I think, Beaker's best result this season in WCR. I mean, a practice Beaker is a scary Beaker. Beaker can be tremendous at this game, at this sport, if he does put the practice hours in. Currently working his way towards, has gone for mode 0, so he's definitely not going for the overtake here. He's just trying to nurse the ERS a little bit, work on keeping close to that Williams car if he can. Good stuff, because that's ultimately who he's battling with right now. And Nick Turn's just a bit too far ahead, and the only way that Beaker will be able to benefit from a Nick Turn is if a Nick Turn gets quite a hefty penalty or more than one penalty, and that would require Beaker to also remain consistent. Again, doable, but haven't seen it for a while. This is the best I've seen Beaker drive in a long time. Ray just seems to be struggling suddenly. I mean, he's slightly gaining pace on a Nick Turn, but I reckon at Nick Turn he's running mode 0 on, he's running in lean on the fuel because he's still got a yellow fuel warning light on. He also needs to think ahead though, because there's a possibility he might actually find himself in trouble when it comes to the end of this Grand Prix. If he gets another penalty, he may not have built up enough gap because he's trying to conserve the fuel to the cars behind him. Come on then, Beaker, let's see what you've got. This is your time to shine. I think he knows. He's gone to the mode 1. Is he going to go to mode 2, 3 on the exit? He has. There it is. 2, 3. Didn't get the exit he wanted. Might not choose to go mode 4. I think it'd be a mistake if he did, because he is just a bit too far back. Ray getting really out of shape. Has helped Beaker just close up that little bit more. Yeah, good, smart driving there from Beaker to not use too much ERS. He just cannot afford to burn it away at this stage of the day. Sit on the back of him still in with a chance to snatch P2 if Ray gets a penalty. Beaker needs to just be all over the back of Ray and apply pressure. Make Ray crumble mentally, and then the penalty will be applied by Ray and Beaker could just slide on past. He does have to worry about Ray holding him up potentially, because Camille has just suddenly found a bit of time bringing that gap down. Don't know where he's found it, but he has. Tinko on the back of Brownie. It was Brownie that passed him. Tinko in P8 now. Brownie looking good. 18.8 seconds separates him and Copy. And Brownie will have to pit. Oh, Tinko, you cut that a bit fun there, didn't you? Let's see if Tinko can get Brownie back. He has got a lot of ERS to work with. Brownie's got a fair amount to defend with. I just don't think he has the right amount. Nope, it looks like Tinko's just going to sit tight, play the long game, and just be patient. No need to pass just yet. Just sit in his slipstream. He might even get the pass even if he wanted to here, but no. Brownie will stay P7. Beaker P3. Come on then, Beaker. Let's see in these remaining 8 laps. Let's see how well you can perform. Have you got what is required to battle with others and take them apart? Brownie in the pits has decided this is the time for the stop. Now prepare to see a very quick Brownie suddenly appear. Soft tyres going onto the car. And now it's go time, he says. How big will that gap be? Where's Just Ice? He's going to be losing out to both of these. He's going to fall to dead last of the remaining cars driving. but it's still a points position regardless. Just Ice is 14.4 seconds behind Tinko. I think ultimately this strategy just didn't quite work out for Brownie. He couldn't seem to chuck... I mean, he'd have to, if he could chuck down ridiculous pace, there's a possibility. Especially as everyone else's tyres are going to be slowing down even more, especially those that are on the hards. They've done 17 laps on those hards and they're taking it to the end. Brownie is 9 seconds apart from Stefania. So we'll keep coming back to him as we go along, but this is the man we need to watch. Beaker still hunting Ray Ray, still not yet past him, but still down 3 seconds on penalties. So needs to try and encourage Ray to get a penalty somehow. If Nickturn gets a penalty as well, this could work out even better for Beaker. I think Ray is currently net race winner. Oh, there it is. That's the one that Beaker needed. Ray getting another penalty means Beaker now is on equal terms with Ray. It also allows Beaker to start getting really aggressive and start passing him. Just focus on that. You don't have to just sit tight and wait for it now. Now is your time to go. You got to push. Got to try and pressure Ray again. If he gets another penalty, even easier. You've secured that with some more. Come on, Beaker. Let's see what you got. Still no position change just yet, though. Half a second, still no change. Come on, Beaker. Just get your foot down. Let's see it now. Mode 3. Ray is in less of a position than you, Beaker, in terms of ERS. He's had to use Mode 4. Fuel is looking better for Beaker as well. He's not got the warning light on, whereas both P1 and P2 do, and they also have very little ERS. Beaker now looks better than ever to potentially get P2. Needs to really get a move on. Come on, Beaker. Stefanator in P9. Not really able to do much about Just Ice just yet. He is sort of in a good attacking position, but again, on the hards just means he's not really able to do anything. But Brownie getting 3 seconds on these guys in just 1 lap on the softs. Beaker then. Still same situation. Needs to really just go for it. Really just needs to go for it. Stefanator down there at 3/10 now. Actually has an opportunity to go for it on Just Ice. Is he going to send it in towards turn 5? I don't think he is. No, Just Ice has got decent lines, but Stefanator just looks a little bit more comfortable. He's actually able to work his way closer and closer to the back of Just Ice. Just Ice runs wide. A little bit of a lock mistake there. Sorry from Stefanator. Loses the rear. Just Ice still ahead though, P8. Points will be awarded for all these drivers if they can make it to the end of the race. Just Ice just flicked the car in a little bit, getting a little bit unstable again. Mistakes were made. Beaker then again, DRS swing wide open. Is he playing the long game? He doesn't realise he actually has the ability to really just burn this fuel away, match the other drivers and just get ahead and go for it. Tinko with a 3-second time penalty. Stefanator, he is there. He is ready. He's just not yet got the gap to go for it. Again, Just Ice losing the rear, and so does Stefanator. This is where things are starting to get a little bit out of shape for these guys. 19 laps in on these hards, and suddenly Stefanator looks a lot more comfortable than Just Ice does. Coming into the second to last, 5 laps left to go. This is where things are starting to heat up now. Everyone's starting to realise we have to push. We can't afford to not. We've got to push and get these positions, or at least secure these points if you're in Just Ice's position. Whereas Stefanator wants to get more than that. Wing up and now look at all that ERS he's got to deploy. More than double what Just Ice has. Here's Stefanator then. Is he going to go for the late lunge? He's not. No stamps being sent today. Just Ice still got a little bit intimidated by that. Ran a little bit deep in towards turn 3. There's a big gap left open there for Stephanie, but it does mean that Just Ice will have the inside for the next. They are going to be side by side into turn 5. Just Ice will keep it ahead, but oh no, Stephanie's got a fly. Just gets out of the way of the wall. And Brownie's just lurking in the distance, working his way closer and closer to this battle. Again, it's only going to be a P8 at best for Brownie. There's just not enough time for him to work his way onto Tinko, despite the fact he was alongside of him when he went into the pits. Just that he has to pit. That is the rule. He can't stay out there forever. If he does, on the same time, he will be in big trouble. Bika, again, he's done everything right so far. Look at the ERS usage of the top 2 drivers. They are sub 20% before the braking zone, and afterwards I think they're just over. Now they're back under again. Bika, 51% ERS, also has so much more fuel. He has so much more pace. Stephanie in a similar boat. Brownie actually right there as well. Just Ice again. He is really holding back Stephanie, and Brownie's all over. He's going for it into the second to last corner. He's going to get him before we even get there. Might actually get the exit he needs to be able to push even further. Aerodynamic wing open in a second. There it is. Off he goes. So Just Ice will be the sitting duck here. Just going to have to watch as he comes past him. It's going to be late into the braking zone, but Brownie will have so much more pace. And that allowed that position to just swap around a little bit. Bika, though, he's already attacking Ray, who's made a mistake there. Bika ready to go for it. At the end of that DRS zone, Ray just lost the control of the car just a touch. Kept himself out of trouble. Doesn't get any penalties, though. Just Ice does. He gets himself a 3 seconds. But Stephanie is still stuck behind him. No changes between those two, even though Brownie is working himself further forward. 4 laps to go. Then we will be on 3 laps now. 4 laps if you include actually the one they're on. Bika. Wing open. He's actually going for it. This is the time. This is the place. Mode 4 on the ERS. Wing wide open. Slipstream. This is going to be too far back. He might have to back out of this. He has. He's backed out. He knows he can't quite make it. He just needs to get the exit out of that final corner if he wants to take that position from Ray. But Ray, again, looking out of shape. Looking a little bit uncomfortable on the tyres that he's on right now. I asked for consistency from Ray. He's definitely delivering. And now Bika all over that gearbox. Don't think Bika will gain on at Nick turn. There is a possibility at Nick turn gets another penalty. If he gets another penalty, Bika will be the winner if he can pass Ray. But if Ray can hold him back, Ray will be the winner, as they both have less penalties than at Nick turn if a Nick turn gets one more. Brownie sets fastest lap, so that's a point that will not be going to any of these top 3, especially considering they're all on mediums. Yes, they're only on 14 lap all mediums, but they're not on mediums that will be able to do the lap times that Brownie just chucked in on those softs. Unless you have some inhuman power. Oh no, I just realized Camille might actually jump all of them. He's really worked his way further forward. Look at this, he's right on the back by 2 seconds off of Bika. They all have penalties. Camille might just suddenly snatch P1 here. What's the gap to leader? Gap to leader for him is, yeah, he will absolutely, he will snatch P1. Unless Camille gets penalties, or if I've missed some penalties. Bika again a little bit excited on the exit. He's much closer this time. This is the moment for him. Look at the gap closing up slightly. Bika, Ray goes defensive on the inside. Bika's going to have to tear the outside, but he's going to actually have him done before we even get to the corner. Ray may go late. Ray's gone very late. Goes to the exit, and he just forces Bika out wide. Bika's still there. Still has the right to defend it. Still has the right to force his way through, and he has. Ray really hanging on to this car, and Nixon gets another one. Ray goes deep into it, sent into the side of Bika. Bika's gone off to the outside as well, but Bika somehow manages to survive the onslaught of attack from Ray, and Bika gets up in a P2, and Nixon gets that additional penalty. So right now, Bika will be jumping at Nick turn, but Camille will be jumping all of them as he's on the back of P3, 2, and 1, and especially when it comes to penalties. Camille might be able to pull this off if he can just get a nice run down this middle straight, get the DRS open on Ray and potentially work his way further forward. He does have much more fuel than Ray and Nick turn, and that's really just kind of sealed the deal for Ray. He won't even get a podium at this rate if that's the situation. It depends how bad it is between Nickturn and Ray. If Ray gets one more penalty, then he's going to keep all of it. And Nickturn, I think he might be the one that loses out the podium altogether. Bearing in mind, he's in race win position right now. He's currently sat on the front of the grid. He just isn't actually able to keep himself consistent enough. And I mentioned it earlier, those penalties, they are literally killing him. There you are then. Lap 26 of 27. The penultimate lap has been started. And Camille just didn't get the exit he needed out of that corner. Ray did get a better exit, but it's not going to be enough. Beaker, unless he goes for a huge send, which is just going to be too ambitious, I think. Yep, definitely too ambitious. Will stay behind. Camilo still there, still in with a shot of working his way past them. Just cannot afford to make a mistake now. Beaker, 3 seconds off of it, Nickturn. Almost bringing himself within that 3 seconds. There it is, 2.9. And Nickturn has suddenly lost a lot of power, a lot of pace. Ray's got yellow fuel warning light, so does it Nickturn. Brownie gets a 3-second time penalty, which won't really make a difference right now. I don't think Stefanetta has one. I know Just Ice definitely has one. Ultimately, that won't change anything. Frankie Pie gets a penalty. He might lose out to Copy, because Copy is somebody you can rely on to keep it clean. I don't think he's got a single penalty yet, so that'll be Copy going up to P5. Camille and Ray, both in the DRS attack range of Beaker. Beaker lost out a lot there. He was very slow through that little chicane there. Did allow Ray to close up onto him. Still fighting all the way through. They are about to start the final lap at Nickturn. Coming through the second to last. Now the final corner. Whilst, yes, he's done a very good job of staying in the lead, he has gained far too many penalties, but Ray is going to want to take this away from Beaker, and Beaker knows it. This is why he is shaking the slipstream. He's trying to lose Ray as quick as he can. He needs to defend the inside, and that's exactly what he's doing, but Ray sees a gap. He might send it. Is he going to for the inside? He's not. He's going to take the outside. Beaker's going to hold him out. There's contact. Ray goes wide. Beaker loses control, but he just catches the car. Ray gets so aggressive, and Camille, he's on the back of Beaker now. This is an opportunity for him to go around the outside. Beaker needs to try and force him further out wide, and he just cannot. And Camille goes deep into the inside of the corner, bullies Beaker to the outside as well, and Camille comes right back in again. That is he giving the position back? I don't think he is. He's just going to try and hold him again. Beaker's just still fighting, still in there, still touching wheels. Camille will get the position. Oh, Beaker's gone around the outside, but he's going to take it right off track. Has Beaker kept that, or is he going to have to give that position back? I don't think he is. He might actually have just made it, but he's now outside of DRS on Ray. And Ray, whilst the stewards may have a word with him for all of the very aggressive, ambitious attacks, he may still get that position for now as Camille goes for Beaker. Very simple DRS overtake. No pressure applied to Beaker there at all, because he knows that Camille just can fly past. He just has to sit there and wait for it. All he needs to do now is try and battle back with him. Ray might get in trouble for this, but we'll see as Nickturn is coming through the final few. Beaker's still there with Camille. We know Nickturn will cross the line in first place unless by some crazy situation he has a mega off and damages his vehicle, which I don't think he is going to. Cross the line and takes first place, but that's before penalties, because here comes Ray. Ray still loses out. Camille takes the win, and Beaker outside of the podium will get P4. That's before the steward's inquiry. Frankie Pie will take 5th and then lose it to Copy, who kept a clean sheet. He gets P5 from Frankie Pie. Tinko will be the next in P7, and no matter how many penalties you have, unless you have absurd amounts of penalties, you are going to be staying P7. And then you got Brownie there in P8, Stephanie to P9, Just Ice in P10. Everybody will get points, but I think the stewards' room will be very, very loud and very active after that Grand Prix. Brownie coming through then. Tinko took 7th. Here comes Brownie through the final and across the line. Stephanator. Did he keep a cleaner sheet than Brownie? I think it was... yep, no. And there you go. Just Ice gets the 10th position. Well, there you have it. That's the end of that Grand Prix. That was a very exciting one towards the end. It was a bit of a lull in the middle and a bit at the beginning. There was a little bit of action off the start, but for the most part, it all happened right at the very end where Camille, out of nowhere, takes the race win very cleanly. No penalties applied to him at all. He did everything right, And Nick Ten, who did such a good job, he led every single lap in this Grand Prix, just did not get a clean enough sheet. Did get 9 seconds of penalties, which puts him still ahead of Ray and still ahead of Beaker, despite the fact that they had penalties as well. Just somehow they didn't get close enough to Nick Ten to be able to benefit. So Ray P3, Beaker P4, Copy P5, who jumped Frankie by due to his penalties that he had applied. Copy did get a penalty, sorry. I thought he was clean, but no, he got a singular one. Tinko gets one at P7, Brownie gets P8, Stephanie gets P9, and Just Ice gets P10. Then you have the DNFers, which are Blackbird, Schwalbe, Max, Brat, and Leopard, who we lost very early on in the session. But that's it. Thank you everybody for watching the World Championship Racing Grand Prix here in Russia. I've been Ben Ryan McConnell, and it's been an absolute pleasure. See you guys soon.